Hi. So I'd come across this thread. I was looking for something. I don't have the documents showing Kevin Bowen, and on those sites where he says he's into some really, really dark stuff and mentions he's 6'3" and all this stuff. So I was going to put a little bit message I had about him in the audio video, from the audio from the second exam. But I come across this thread: Invigilators falsified reports. I'd sent this on June 13th, 2024. So the exams were the 17th and 18th. I'd put in my bullying complaint on the 18th, immediately after the exams. I'd made multiple complaints before that about the bullying. The invigilator reports were revealed to me on the 6th of June, which I immediately said, hey, you got to get this footage. I'll probably record a video about that later. So this is the 13th of June. This is 1 week after the incident reports were revealed to me. So I sent this to assessment@ucd.ie because nobody cares to this day. Nobody at UCD cares except the exam invigilators lied on the reports. In fact, they are actively covering it up. So I sent this to assessment@ucd.ie. Catherine Torme, Emma Summers. Emma Summers is the mature student advisor. Catherine Torme, I believe, is her boss. Emma Lyons is student advisor at law school. Jason Last, the dean, obviously. Sent it to a couple of papers. So, dear sirs, invigilators harassed me in the exams occurring on the 17th and 18th of May last, commencing at 4:30 p.m. and 1 p.m. respectively. On the 18th, they were so antagonistic I was not even able to complete my exam. Your invigilators forced me out of the exam hall before it was even halfway over. Defamatory allegations were then made against me by these anonymous invigilators, which were addressed with Dean Jason Last on the 6th of June last. Miss Emma Summers and Miss Emma Lyons were also in attendance. RDS has confirmed that they are holding all unredacted audio and video footage. It turns out there is actually no audio, so I misspoke, audio and video footage from inside and outside of the exam periods during the entire time frame I was on the grounds of Simmonscourt, and will be providing me with the relevant redacted footage. While the redacted footage may or may not prove my allegations against the invigilators, it will uncontrovertibly disprove their allegations against me. And again, so 9 months later, on the 31st of January 2025, when they finally showed me the redacted footage, again, it doesn't substantiate theirs. It just obviously shows me working away for 40 minutes, completely intent, and then just it cuts to me walking down the hall. Now, the 8th of this year, 2026, they say they came up with another 15 minutes. So who knows what's in that? I want to see the whole sequence, at least what they are willing to show me. I'd love to see the entire sequence that's available because it goes to state of mind. I'm sitting there just quietly studying and, asking permission to sit on a jacket and this and that. So yeah, it goes to state of mind versus these pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli zealots, I don't agree with either side. I think we should all just be nice to each other, I'm a hippie. This is part of it, and RDS isn't the one to provide me with the footage. Unfortunately, they said that basically he'd love to, but it's up to UCD. So that's why I've been contacting the DPC about them and all that. And I've got to make another complaint because they don't want to show their work. They say they contacted RDS to see if there's any more footage because what they showed was all RDS provided me with. But they won't come up with emails. They say that's not under GDPR. They don't have to, give me emails of personal data that's related to me, per GDPR. So obviously they don't want to show their work. They didn't email RDS, I'm sure. If they did, they would say, hey, here's the emails. This is part of an ongoing pattern of harassment that began in November. No one has the right to perpetrate such falsehoods under a cloak of anonymity. And as such, if you are unwilling to reveal the names of the miscreants, I will have no choice but to find out through the courts. This ongoing pattern of harassment has caused irreparable harm and is actionable. I implore you to view the unredacted footage, hold the delinquents accountable for their actions, and turn over their names. I am including the account of the incidents I wrote on the 18th of May last, as well as the defamatory incident reports I first read on the 6th of June last. If you have any queries or require any further documentation, please do not hesitate to contact me. Best wishes and kind regards. I've posted those elsewhere, so I'm not gonna be it's a long enough video. So assessment, it's not giving me the address there. It says, please note, this is not a student-facing email address. They should be submitted using online contact form at ucd.ie/askus, which that's like the student union run thing. So obviously student union is not in a position to help me. They didn't want to help me when I spoke to Marta Nirata, who's now at the RDS, because, you know, these people, they're all going on to positions of power. My class graduated without me. And, yeah, they're all going on to positions of power, and this is how they learn to ignore you. That's why I mentioned at the field protest. If this was, you know, geography class, I wouldn't have said a word. But these are our leaders. They're training our leaders. So, yeah. So they're saying, yeah, that's not good. And I'd emailed Siobhan. At this time, I thought that because she mentioned she might be doing a podcast or something, so I've had like an interesting life and all. She's Ryan Tuberty's best buddy, like, but I thought she wanted to do a podcast or something, and it turns out she's just feeding all the information straight to UCD. You know, I even kind of planted info with her, and then UCD, you know, found out what I told her. So yeah, they share a property, basically, like UCD and RTE are physically directly next to each other. And they might as well be a single entity, you know. The UCD, RDE, the RDS, it's just all one group there. So I'd say, hi, Siobhan. Wow, this rabbit hole is getting deeper and deeper. Please have a look. I'd love to come on air and talk about the situation. And there's the incident report. I mean, I found out these incident reports, like, it was basically ambushed, like, the morning of. They're like, which, if you'd like to see it before the meeting, like, obviously, yeah. So I'd made a couple of demonstratives there, like where I was seated in the hall, and that's the best I could come up with in like 30 minutes, trying to secure footage, trying to get some demonstratives, trying to, like, you know, do all this. Like, oh my gosh, like, I was just in shock. And so here is sent this, oh yeah, to Amy. Apparently they got to her, Amy Donahue, because she was talking to her for a minute on WhatsApp, and then she just, like, don't contact me again, and blocked me. So obviously, you know, everybody's afraid of UCD but me, you know. And if I mean, whistleblowers get killed, but, like, if they kill me now, then, you know, because I'm not suicidal now. Now that this case is moving, I'm not suicidal. I was suicidal when I thought there was no hope and they were getting away with this stuff, and they would just keep rolling over every student that, you know, dared to say, hey, I was victimized, you know. But so yeah, I'd forwarded that to her. So here's again on the 13th, sent this to invigilation at UCD, exam logistics at UCD, grading.support at UCD, assessment policy at UCD, extern examiner at UCD. You know, I'd forwarded that to them, right? Same thing. There. So then again, I'm sending this to President Jason Lass, so that would be Orla Feely, Catherine Tormé, Emma Summers, Emma Summers, sorry, and a few news stations. I think that's just the same forwarded message, I believe. Don't know why this is all funky. Hold on, let me just pause this and see if I can fix this real quick. Again, the 13th of June, 2024. Since invigilation, exam logistics, grading support, assessment policy, extern examiner. You know, forwarded that to them. Okay, exam logistics, not student-facing email address. So, ACCE at ucd.ie. I'm not quite sure what that is. I forwarded it to them. Then I sent another. Then again, also on the 13th, assessment at UCD, Catherine Tormé, Emma Lyons, Emma Summers, Jason Last, and the president, Orla Feely. Dear sirs, certain students are discriminating against me based on my nationality, religion, socioeconomic background, and disability. They knew I was disabled. I asked them ahead of time. And they knew my nationality was American. In fact, I'd said that in class, in the favorite class, contract law. Everybody shows up for that if they're able, everyone. And he was looking for somebody to read something by a Canadian. And I raised my hand and I said, well, eventually. Everybody else looked kind of hungover. And I remember I had actually drank the night before too, but I was feeling grand. Because I was thinking that, well, that's odd. But I raised my hand and I spoke and I was like, yeah, I'm American, not Canadian. So yeah, everybody in the class knew I was American, not Canadian. Everybody that was there that day, which pretty much would be everybody. So I said, if I was a Palestinian, they're discriminating against me based on my nationality, religion, I wore a cross. And they knew my nationality because I asked them if it was okay if my blue card, my refugee card, was okay, or if I needed my passport, because I had my passport in my bag, and you have to, check your bag before you come in, before you enter the exam hall. So I asked them if that was okay, and they said, yeah, that's grand. And then I put my passport in my bag and I checked my bag. Because I think it does say on there not to be used for identification or something. They knew my religion because I did wear crosses to school. My socioeconomic background, obviously they knew that because I'd been talking to Martin Uriata about the commuter issue. I talked to, and disability. I'd asked permission to sit on my jacket. I said I'd had a motorcycle accident the week before. I had a fractured tailbone. I was in Maine. If I was a Palestinian Muslim, they would not have called me racist, etc., for voicing basic health and safety concerns. Shia Muslims have the same concerns about Sunni and vice versa, though it seems to be primarily the Wahhabi sect that has a crusaders-like view of what they think Allah wants. That's the Saudi Arabia Wahhaba sect. They're the ones behind 9/11 and all that crap. It's the whole thing. The guy that was in charge, his plane got shut down, or his helicopter got shut down, investigating the border regions, and one of the heirs to the kingdom and all that. And, deep rabbit hole. So it must be, I'm definitely autistic because I just get into stuff and just, I don't know anything half-arsed. So it says, as it is, I am just another American Zionist to them, like Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi, purportedly at opposite ends of the political spectrum. I'm not a fan of any politicians, by the way, as no matter who wins, the people lose. They aren't safe on campus. Alan Shatter isn't safe on campus. I'm not safe on campus. The hateful and violent graffiti, that's Orla Feely's own words, hateful and violent messages, the hateful and violent graffiti on campus chilled me to my core. They'd done that right after the exams. As it came directly on the heels of the exam incidents and reiterated the fact that solely due to the fact that they stereotype me based upon certain immutable characteristics, I am not welcome there. I am being attacked as an outsider due to my socioeconomic status. I attempted to participate in UCD societies, etc. in stage 1, but barely passed the second trimester due to having night classes Mondays and Tuesdays, with 9 a.m. class Tuesday morning and Monday morning as well. So I would be getting on the bus before 7 a.m. And to actually get the full lecture, I would have to stay. The lecture ends at 6. The commuter bus leaves at 5:15. So I have to stay till 6, get on the 39A bus just after 6 p.m., get to City Center just about 7, and wait till 8:05 for the commuter bus to get me back to Meath for just after 9 p.m. And then the next morning, again, up on the bus before 7 and back after 9. Which, the long hours, that's I mean, people work, people do different things. I was interning at the time, and they said, just what about your work-life balance? And I'm like, well, just because I intern at a law firm, like, it doesn't change anything. Like, just because I, on the days when I have time, I go there before I go to school, and then on other days I go there afterwards. Like, that doesn't, I mean, I did miss one class because of that. I missed my very first lecture at UCD because I was in the High Court on a JR, judicial review. But, like, after it doesn't, I didn't miss any more classes because I was of court, Oh, actually, I was late once for the contract law case that everybody shows up for, and I walked in like in my my nice leather briefcase and outfit. People thought I was like is that with a barrister? They thought I was like earning my silks with a barrister, deviling, because I'd be following Kira around, and it was lovely. But yeah, I came in there once, and I was like, second on the list for 11. What can you do? And I said, how that goes. And he like laughed, and all the students were like, but yeah, in general, yeah. And I got free coffee. I had cereal there, so I ate there, saved money. Like, that doesn't, whether or not I pop off, across from from forecourts and in what was that, I can't remember, but yeah, but whether or not I stop and have a cup of coffee and sort some files and help a few clients, that does not change the schedule at all. So I continued. If I had the ability to participate in university life, they would know that I enjoy nothing more than using my knowledge to help all of God's children. At the office, we had very few white clients, and most of them weren't ethnically Irish. We used to joke about our white Irish solicitor being a minority there, all very friendly, of course. They'd know I used to, again, if I had a chance to participate in university life, which, again, commuters don't. That's just the way of it. Commuters should be able to get the same quality, the same level of education without having to put their lives at risk by standing on sketchy areas for an hour waiting for a bus because, you don't want to wear a microphone for half the lecture and record it and post it for just the commuters. But I understand commuting. People work, people do all kinds of things, The education is the number one thing. All the extracurricular stuff, yeah, obviously the more money your family has, the more you're going to be able to participate in all the extra stuff. That's just the way life goes, right? So I'm not giving out about that. But if I had the chance to participate in the university life, these students, the UCD SU students harassing me, would know that I enjoy nothing more than using my knowledge. I said they know I used to protest against the wars my own country propagates, but it didn't change anything. And now I'm an apolitical pacifist. I hate what governments do, but know enough to know I can't change the situation. So, I mean, I know Greta, like, unless, are you going to go over there and talk to the leader of Hamas and talk to, Benjamin Netanyahu there, just get them together and come up with a solution? Can you do that? I can't do that. So, and Irish government sure as heck, what the heck are they going to do, Though I have voiced my concerns about the commuting issue in group chat and to the student union every chance I got, as it doesn't affect people of their socioeconomic status, the only response I received was hostility. This entire situation began in November because I was once again trying to have my voice heard. But the second I raised my health and safety concerns about commuting, they just responded with messages of hatred and violence. Prior to November last, I would only contribute occasionally to the chat. Nothing personal, just relevant legal news articles, and sometimes I'd see if anyone wanted to get some experience at the office. It's nice to have a place near forecourts to stop in for free coffee and tea and food and have friendly chats with solicitors and barristers. A few students like myself, poor immigrants, took me up on the offer, but those outside of our socioeconomic class derided me for working for free. I was a key holder there before I started UCD, and was my own boss most of the time after my Pakistani office manager left. It was much more fun than if I was actually getting paid and working there. Yeah, working for free is great. Yeah. It is. I'd get in there and people would be like, it's 9 a.m. and, you're having breakfast and you're having a bowl of cereal and a cigarette break? Yeah, because, from 9:30 to 1, I'm going to be, balls to the wall. But, again, anytime I'd have a chance, have a smoke break. But as a side note, while November was the first and only time in my life I've referred to my office manager and best friend at the time, or anyone else as Packy, as I am now aware it is offensive, I called my office manager and our clients by their name and wrote Pakistani on all legal documents, of course. It is unreasonable to assume that one would automatically know that a truncated version of a nationality is offensive. People say Brit for British all the time. I assumed that was okay, but as I can't recall if I've ever heard that spoken to an English person before, I've decided it's best I don't say that either. I haven't gotten this far in life by randomly antagonizing people. With my CPTSD and anxiety, I live my life in such a way I don't upset people. I just heard Caesar here. I know. I don't know. He really is around here. Caesar, there's a female that's been hanging around. And you hear the squeaky toys. Those are the swallows. I'm going to miss them when they leave. We got 2 nests in the barn now. But yeah, dub. All I hear is effing dubs. Effing Brits. So I guess truncating it is offensive. So I guess, we shouldn't say Brit or dub. I don't know. So after these messages in November, I stopped contributing to the group chat and stopped attending uni entirely. I was starting to feel a bit ill and was debating on if I should take a few days off before these attacks started. But as 17 students took their poll, and they were all saying how much they hated me, I believe it was 22 actually, and they were all saying how much they hated me, page after page after page. No doubt the shock and stress of having such a large group all spouting incontrovertibly false accusations with such vitriol contributed to my cold/flu developing into a serious chest infection. I missed the exams and hadn't set foot on campus since. In April last, I penned a letter to the task force. This is April 2024. That was November 2023. So in April 2024, just before the exams, I penned a letter to the task force being created to tackle the violence and crime epidemic plaguing city center, as it is not safe to commute through there after night classes. I forwarded it to relevant parties at UCD, as well as every mainstream media outlet here in this country, no tabloids. I thought it might be relevant to others in my position, and perhaps it was. But when I posted it in group chat, I only received another hostile message, James O'Hart, saying, "Oh, I'm surprised you didn't find a way to target Muslims," or something like that. I've never said anything bad about Muslims. The only thing that they can remotely point to is I didn't want to say my office manager's name out of respect for her. I know her full name, but I wasn't going to put her full name or even part name in the chat out of respect for her. So, instead of saying British and Brit, instead of Dublin, Dub, I didn't know, and I'm on the bus. I'm not used to this. I had to leave school at 14 and run away because my father was very abusive. He had keys, a lock on the door. You needed a key to go in or out. And the police, they just said he would tell him I fell off a horse. And I'm like, how the heck did I get this bruise falling off a horse? I had to run away. I would not have survived till I would try to run away. Police would bring me back. I'd try to commit suicide. Why? I've never done anything. I've never said anything. I treat people as they treat me, obviously we've all got our opinions on mass migration, but yeah, as individuals, human being to human being, you're here. I got nothing against you if you got nothing against me, So I only received another hostile message, and Ashlyn Maloney immediately shut down the chat. This reinforced the fact that I was not welcome there, as was stated over and over in November. In May, my partner even mentioned that I should be careful, that these students may try something. I stayed outside the exams, chain smoking and studying, and had no issues until I began to try to take the exams on both days. These offending parties were well aware that I was suffering from a physical disability from a motorcycle accident. I had asked for and been granted permission to sit on my jacket due to this injury. It wasn't a motorcycle accident, but that's what I told them. And they saw my physical vulnerability as the perfect time to attack. If they were unaware of my anxiety/CPTSD issues before the exams, they were certainly aware of them on the 17th. And so when I came back on the 18th, they increased their antagonistic behavior, even trying to force me to leave without my phone. I was afraid they were either going to physically attack me. Loony lefties, it wouldn't be the first time a loony lefty has attacked someone that they paint as their enemy, because once you're on the other side, now there's normal lefties. Like if you're just left wing because you believe that's the right thing to do, you're just a nice person, and you think everybody in the world, all 6.5 billion or people that don't have it as good as us, or 7.5 billion people that don't have it as good as us, they should all come here and be given a chance to have a good life here. I mean, I think you're misguided, but you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart. You're not a bad person. These are bad people. These people are just evil. They think if you don't believe what they believe, which, again, the only reason that they could possibly think that is because I'm American. I've said absolutely nothing to them. They're kids. I'm an adult. I have my own life. I'm doing my own thing. I don't live there. But yeah, then they paint you as the enemy. And the loony lefties, once you're the enemy, they are, again, messages of hate and violence. They are very hateful, very violent people. Loony lefties. That's why they call them lunatic lefties. They're hateful, violent, and going on to the rightists and the courts and everywhere, because where do you think, your HR departments, where do you think these people come from? UCD is what's wrong with America. So I was afraid they were either going to physically attack me or force me out the door without it. Or if I left without it, I'd be attacked when I was out looking for a cab. I wasn't fit to walk to the bus as I had done the day before. I was trying to save a few quid, and it didn't work. I was in a lot of pain. On the 18th of May last, I submitted a general statement of what occurred to the relevant parties, and as such, we'll be including that alongside this form. There was incontrovertibly false allegations made against me in incident reports, and as such, I have received confirmation from RDS that they will be holding the entirety of the unredacted footage from the exam period. And again, UCD trying to obfuscate it, saying, well, you don't have a right to footage you're not in, and that's beyond the scope, and we're refusing that request. I didn't make that request. I mentioned the thing in the audio about needing to see all the footage to show discrimination, but that's you need to see unredacted footage. I didn't mean I needed to look at every single person that took an exam that day. I just wanted the footage of me from 2 hours before on the 17th, an hour before on the 18th. I get there, calmly studying, talk as little as possible, go in there, and I'm harassed. And then I come back out after I'm not being harassed, and calm. That's it, to go to state of mind, but of course they don't want to show that. I just want the footage that I'm in. As such, I was confident the holding entirety unredacted footage from the exam period and will be providing me with the redacted footage that will easily disprove the false narrative put forth in the incident reports. Yeah, at the time I wasn't 100% on the process. They have to provide it to UCD. UCD has to provide it to me, which I think is absolutely, terrible that, if you have a complaint against someone, they are in charge of the evidence. It shouldn't be like that. If you have a complaint against someone, you should be able to bypass that person. I mean, they should be the first point, the data controller, should be the first point of contact. But then if you are unable to get it from the data controller, you should be able to go to the data processor, without having to involve the DPC, which I have done, and which I will be doing again because they don't want to show their work. They don't want to show emails saying they contacted RDS to ask for additional footage because, they didn't. So these falsehoods and outright intimidation at the exams added to the hostile atmosphere that has been brewing against me since at least November. No way were they going to force me to leave without my phone. Being disabled due to injuries meant I couldn't run away or even defend myself. I was in bits and had to cab as I couldn't walk to the bus stop. The graffiti that appeared immediately afterwards on campus solidified the fact that people that share my characteristics, or rather my stereotype characteristics, are not welcome there. I am afraid to be anywhere near UCD. I'm even afraid to commute through city center, as one student said they saw me filming the aftermath of the riots, but I didn't see him. We see you, but you don't see us kind of deal. Very threatening. Everyone knows me, because, American. I kind of stand out, especially when I was going to the office and wearing office clothes and, yeah. But I hardly recognize anyone in my class, as I had very full days. If I wasn't in class, I was at the office or the gym, and in the second stage, I even got the tepid area membership. Spent 100 quid to get that membership just shortly before this all started. So I really miss that. Okay, I was at the tepid area more than the gym this year. This sauna, and it's really, really nice. I've struggled my entire life until this great country gave me refuge, and I'm taking advantage of every opportunity I'm being afforded. Unfortunately, due to this harassment, my anxiety has increased dramatically, and I have to see my GP to try to increase the dosage of the medicine I take for it. I've been on the minimum starting dose for about a year, had to get on it due to stress from brutal second trimester schedule in stage 1. That's the first year, second year. I cannot sleep at night, as it was always my dream to attend uni, and now I'm scared for my life to go into the city alone. I know, babies, I know, you're so cute. Hey, say hi, baby. I know, just like a little kitten. Just like a little kitten. Yeah. I can't look for work, as I never know if/when I'll sleep at night. Well, I am looking for work now on Job Seekers, but I should have graduated and been working on my solicitor degree or deviling proper, I was late for a 10:15 a.m. Zoom meeting. How could I hold down a job? Yeah, at that time. I just want to live in peace and get an education that will give me a fulfilling career. Prior to November, I thought I'd finally made it. The struggle was over. How wrong I was. If you have any queries or require any further documentation, please do not hesitate to contact me. It's the boilerplate ending. Sincerely. Assessment, again. So this is a not student-facing email. Canned response. Yeah, that's lovely. And sent that to Siobhan, Marine Tuberty's best buddy. And so Neve got back to me. So all of that I've sent all over UCD to everyone, I got a response. Neve Nestor. Dear Ashley, my name is Neve. So this is their response to me. This is how UCD is going to handle this situation. Dear Ashley, my name is Neve, and I am Emma's line manager. Emma Summer. Emma Summers, the mature student advisor, ALL, Access Learning for All, or whatever. Emma reached out to me as she's concerned about you. I just wanted to check in to see how you're doing. Oh, that's nice. They're concerned about me. That's so great. So let's see. They're concerned about me. All right. Emma said you're trying to book an appointment to see your own GP. Is that correct? I would very much like to offer you some support and organize an emergency counseling appointment for you so you can get some help. Will you email me back as soon as you get this? and I can talk you through how we can provide some support for you. I'm concerned about you. Isn't that nice, the concern? Hey, Felix. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I spook you on the dried leaves? He's such a wonderful little boy. Just the sweetest, smartest, lover boy. Yeah, that's you. I know it's snack time, baby. I know. Hold on. All the very best. Neve. So here's Emma Summers got back to me. 7:15. They work late. And forwarded it. Hi, Neve. Please see below emails from one of my students who I've been supporting for a number of months. I have expressed my concerns several times to this student about her capacity to engage in UCD processes until she's had time to re-engage with mental health supports. I would appreciate it if you could arrange an emergency appointment for her by Zoom tomorrow, if possible with UCD counseling, and check in to see if she's been able to get a GP appointment. If not, we will also be able to arrange this. They have a GP there. You can I will check in with the student on my return on Monday, but any support you can offer in relation to mental health services before then would be much appreciated. Not harassment, not bullying. Mental health. My anxiety over being harassed and bullied. Again, and there's forwarding this again to everybody. Let's see, go to a new message. And again, I sent this message to the assessment at UCD, Catherine Tormé, Emma Lyons, Emma Summers, Jason Last, and the president, as well as a couple news organizations. Forgot to mention, I am very much willing to go on record with everything. Half the country probably knows my background by now. Had a PhD engineering student looking me up on LinkedIn. So I'm well known enough in the student community. Nearly 30,000 students all told. That's including overseas and everything, part-time. Every single person that's registered to take any kind of learning there. That's 30,000 students. All told. Now many have gone home for the summer. A white American fugitive, no longer a fugitive. I emailed them, and they probably had other issues, so I emailed them, and they got the warrant off of me, so that's good. 'Cause it's terrible. Like, that's one reason I wanted to know the law. I mean, law is interesting, but like, if you don't know the law, you can't protect yourself. I mean, look, I know the law, and look what they're doing to me. Can you imagine the students that don't know the law, what they're doing to them? Yes, I know, Caesar. That's Caesar. Yeah, people ask, does he come every day? Does he come every day? Like, does he leave? He leaves to go fishing, that's it. A white American fugitive porn star. No longer a fugitive. I contacted them, and even though those warrants, never expire, they've probably had other issues with those police lying, and with the solicitor whose sole partner was running a $1.3 million timeshare fraud scheme with multiple people and all that out of their little office. I interned at a small law firm. You'd notice something like that. You can't hide that. Running it out of the office, he knew. So yeah, a white American fugitive porn star granted asylum after fleeing a corrupt American system, finally being given a real opportunity for the first time in her life. Sure, your readers / viewers / listeners will find my story compelling. Can't imagine anyone siding with a bunch of privileged brats that have no qualms about stealing the joy of thousands of children. The UCD festival was supposed to happen the day the encampment ended. 2 days after I met with the dean about the falsified reports, because they were upset, the protesters were upset that Intel was sponsoring it. I suppose none of them have Intel chips in any of their devices. Sure, they can all afford the latest iPads. But if they held banners, if they talked to people and said, hey, did you know Intel's supporting Israel? I guarantee you they would have affected change. There would have been one person, at least one person, that would have stopped buying Intel and switched to Apple. And that's what they want. They want everybody to stop Intel and switch to Apple. They would have gotten at least one person. So by being disruptive, hostile, and violent, how much change, how many people switched outside of their immediate contacts? Nobody. So added this as well, again, to the same lot. And I was a runaway as well, only due to an abusive father and apathetic cops. Never drugs or crime or anything like that. Smoke pot. Tried harder stuff, but like that doesn't work for me. I don't need stimulants, my goodness. And I don't smoke marijuana now. So when I was a 17-year-old runaway, I met the man who groomed me into dancing and doing adult videos as soon as I turned 18. I got my leaving cert equivalent at the age of 19, as I wasn't able to finish my 9th year. Having to leave at the age of 14, had to abandon my cats. When I got them back, Grey Sox was diabetic, so I had to give her insulin shots. Such a sweet girl, sweet girl. I have a missing persons ad from when I was 15. I also have pics of the boat and horse I had to abandon when the 6'3" trophy-winning black belt called the police over and over until they burst into my room, threw me face down on the floor, and dragged me out barefoot. I only pled as I had no idea what was alleged beyond the statute I was charged with, and I was promised I could go home if I pled, but was assured if I wanted to go to trial, I'd be found guilty. I was in jail at the time, twice, and these charges carry years, felony charges. It's called charge stacking. And then the judge wouldn't let me go home because my boat was out of state. Even though I'd been living on it for 3 years, it was on my ID. I wasn't permitted to leave the state of Virginia. I was left homeless and jobless in the same city as someone that has repeatedly threatened to kill me and would love to kill me to hide his secrets. I finally got a copy of the police report. There's no way I would have pled if I'd seen that rubbish. No evidence was tested in court. They charge stack, threatening you with years, and then say if you plead, you can get time served and go home. If it's not incontrovertible, it isn't worth mentioning, and I have plenty of exhibits saved from when I applied for and was granted asylum. Again, assessment saying it, not student-facing. And I sent another one to Neve Nestor, who's so concerned about my mental health. She's so concerned about me. She wants to get me into counseling. No concern beyond that. Just, we'll get you into counseling and get your meds increased. Just your anxiety. That's what we're concerned about. Not about what's causing it. Not about being harassed, being bullied, being victimized, being afraid to go on campus. But sure, they didn't care about the Jewish students either. So, they only care about their own. And you wonder why our country is like this. Not ours. The country I live in, that I'm resident in. You wonder why the country is like this. Why they ignore us. Why they ignore people's needs and just steamroll over us and do what the hell they want. This is where they learn. Buddy as well. Miss Nestor, she's so concerned about my mental health. Doesn't give a flying anything about invigilators lying, bullying, none of that. Harassment, none of that. But she's so concerned about my mental health. Miss Nestor, I'm the very definition of a perfect victim. The 6'3" black belt I purportedly pulled the hair of, yes, the police report is that ridiculous. Kevin Bowen told me that all the time when he was choking me to unconsciousness and threatening to kill me. I have no family, and as my life has been so extraordinarily unusual and focused solely on survival for the majority of it, I don't have close friends either. To be so vulnerable and alone, it's no wonder 50 milligrams of Ceramil wasn't enough to keep me functional with the harassment I'm suffering from known and unknown parties. I wasn't on any medication for my mental health before starting UCD. Indeed, before that brutal second semester when I thought for sure I was going to fail, I was wrecked all week. I tell everyone I know it's a great school, but not to go to it, as it's unreasonable to expect anyone to commute from there to here with those night classes. I am feeling somewhat better now that there's an end in sight. It's extremely traumatic thinking about all these bad men, starting with my father, but it's even worse going through life never knowing when someone is going to throw that in my face to hurt me. I'm not ashamed of anything. Even my partner's mother knows all about my blue movies. Heck, a PhD engineering student looked me up on LinkedIn. Now people have gone home for the summer, half the country probably knows. For all I know, Amber Sunset is Ryan Tuberty's new favorite porn star. Starlet, but... Siobhan Hugh of Oliver's show there is a very close friend of his, not outside the realm of possibility that she mentioned talking to a white American runaway fugitive refugee porn star taking a UCD law course. Of course, the main story is the Invigilators falsifying reports and the ongoing harassment, but if they want to include information on my background, it may be the only way I have to get out the truth of why I had to flee my home country. I reported my public pretender to the bar and tried everything else, but once you sign that paper saying you did it, nothing matters. I did a $250 consultation with purportedly the best lawyer in America for overturning wrongful convictions. Sure, there must be a way to stop the clock, as the statute of limitations ran out when I was on the run. And missed a probation appointment. I was homeless and jobless because they wouldn't let me go home. If they let me go home, everything would have been grand. I missed a probation appointment, and my home was my boat I owned outright. I lived on for 3 years. My ID had that, but I missed a probation appointment, and the judge assured me she would throw the book at me if I didn't do everything I was supposed to. So I ran. I'm not suited to jail. I'd never survive. I would never grass on anybody. I have morals, but when you're just grabbed and just thrown in, it's very, very scary. It was terrible when I was a runaway trying to escape my father, and I never knew when a cop was just going to grab me, throw me in the car, and bring me back. And it's terrifying, and they're corrupt everywhere, man. The Gardaí here are the same. It's just scary. Yeah. It makes you not want to go anywhere. I was agoraphobic before, but Jesus, now. I thought I'd be safe in this country, not being victimized again here, but I guess, when you're the perfect victim, then... But I'm not the perfect victim anymore, and they're starting to realize that. Had I been permitted to leave the state, I would have gone back to the boat I'd been living on for 3 years at the same marina, gone back to work, and there would have been no issues. Being court-ordered to stay someplace where the only person I know very much wants me dead would absolutely love the act of killing me, and has the knowledge to get away with it. He watches those Identity Channel all the time, that and Dallas Cowboys. He said he would have been a serial killer if his daughter hadn't been born, which I'm not naming her name out of respect for the daughter, but if she ever comes across this video, I do hope she's okay, and what he was doing to that poor girl. And I can't say anything because I'm the evil, crazy, fugitive nanny, the first is he'd love the act of killing. He wants me dead, would love to kill the act of killing me, and has the knowledge to get away with. The first is a given, as I left him and know too much about him. The rest he told me over and over before I decided I wanted to leave. He raped me and said I wasn't going anywhere. I still said I was leaving. Then he called the police repeatedly until they did something. On the second encounter, the first encounter, I just had the sheet over my head and just ignored him, because nothing good ever comes to talking to police. Nothing. If somebody was missing and I was the last person to see them alive, that would be maybe the only, a child, an adult, no. Adult, I'm going to, but if there was a child and the Garda, some Garda came up on the street and was there's this little child of this description, have you seen him? And I'm Jesus, yeah, I just saw him going to the Disney store. That's it. If you want to talk to me about anyone over the age of 13 or anyone that's not a vulnerable person, you can bugger off, because I'm not having it. No, don't talk to government officials. They're not there to help you. I've said many times, if there was a serial killer on one side and an officer of the law on the other, and I was running from a wildfire, I'd run towards a serial killer, because you know that police officer just wants to hurt you. They just, I'm sure there's some good ones out there. But good people retire. Like, I've talked to good people that were former officers, but no, and even the ones that are good, yeah, if it's between you and their brothers in blue, yeah, they will lie, they will do anything to protect themselves. So there's no such thing as an honest cop. There's not. But serial killers, chances are I've probably came in contact with a serial killer during 3 years of hitchhiking across the country, waiting until I turned 18 and got some rights, or thought I would. That's a joke. You only have the rights you can pay to defend or defend yourself. So yeah, the first time I had the sheet over my head and was just kind of ignoring them, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get sectioned if I don't talk to them. So I just like, yeah, everything's grand, just go away. Everything's grand. So back to the letter. On the second encounter, I told them a very small bit about the abuse, and they even admit in their report they gave me a victim witness brochure pamphlet, which was a guide to domestic violence shelters. If they'd offered to get me out of there, of course I would have gone, but I'm asking for help from police. It never ends well. Yeah, I didn't get the report until after the fact. Once you sign that piece of paper, there's no going back. Doesn't matter what you find, doesn't matter. There's no going back. I just thought he'd hit himself with a chair, and if a solicitor's saying you're going to be in jail years or sign here and go home, what are you going to do? Innocence makes no difference in a court of law. People have this whole thing that like guilt and innocence matter in a court of law. No, they don't. I mean, to some extent, obviously, and especially if you're going into higher stuff like murder, then there's more to it. But with low-level crimes, guilt and innocence, they don't matter. Not at all. It's can you pay somebody to protect you, or can you protect yourself? If you can't pay somebody to protect you, and you can't protect yourself, you're done. You're toast. So I went to the media immediately after getting out, before reading the report, to try to clear my name, but they made it worse. They cut out, if you look at the video, they cut out part of the video where I described how I was arrested, and wrote in their story I admitted to resisting arrest. I did nothing of the sort. The third time when they came in, one flicked on the light switch, the other threw me face down on the floor. I was like a fish. I had one hand behind my back, the left hand behind my back, and was cuffed before I even realized what was happening. I wear my glasses all the time. I can't see without them. I was laying in bed. I had no glasses. I was barefoot. I said when they threw me from the bed, face down onto the floor, I flailed around like a fish hitting the deck. It was so quick. Anyone would have a reaction to that. The report doesn't say anything about that, as they concocted a cockamamie story that makes no sense at all. They said that I barricaded the door, and then I let in a room that he called the slaves' quarters with nothing on the floor, which again, if he's saying, this is my nanny, I'm not paying her anything, she's living here, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, which I don't care, it's comfy, like it was a decent mattress, I had sheets, I had a pillow, who cares? I had a place, a chest of drawers to put my stuff in, who cares? But yeah, wouldn't that be like human trafficking or something? Taking, if somebody came from across state lines and they're working for you for no pay, minding your child, like, wouldn't that be human trafficking the way he described it? But yeah, so they're saying I barricaded the door, then I decided I'd let him in, and then there was this and this. It was like very, very tricky, like, I would ask them to do it in court, because they would have never been able to make the choreography out. Like this one, and then went down to one knee, and this, and I can't even. Simply the fact that I didn't have glasses on refutes their BS. Not sure how much reporters want to get into, but I've thought long and hard about this ever since first reaching out to the media about the health and safety issues students of my socioeconomic status face commuting after night classes. I'm ready to bear all. Coming to that realization yesterday took a weight off my shoulders, and I'm feeling a bit less anxious now there's hope of some kind of resolution. I still can't sleep, but more drugs, prescription meds aren't the answer. Getting justice is. Best wishes and kind regards. Well, anxiety, that's normal for students who have anxiety in uni. But the schedule, that's an issue. And to maintain the anxiety now, the invigilators falsifying reports, that's a biggie. You know, I wouldn't be on anxiety meds if I had just had a normal, livable schedule and nobody harassed me and I graduated this year. Or I can't say that. Who knows? Maybe I've been on a small amount, but nowhere near as much as with this.